found some secret information, and it was secret. It was actually top secret, and it was that we can make, or we have made, or there is out there a craft or vehicles which you can like climb in, yeah. Shut the doors, obviously. You don't want to leave the doors open because where we're going is quite extreme. But so you shut the doors, then you switch it on, right? Then it's amazing. This is you take off in it, and you start flying through the atmosphere up towards the stratosphere, through the stratosphere into space. It's great. This thing is, right? Yeah. So anyway, you're in space, and then you start going out the solar system. You point the ship to out the solar system, and off you go. At which point you press your impulse button, a bit like in Star Trek. It's like impulse. So impulse, affirmative, engage, and off we go. Anyway, off we go out the solar system. We get out the solar system, you press your Lightspeed button, wham, and off we go. Lightspeed. What factor 9? You know, something like that would go. Engage, something like that. Anyway, you're out there and you've done that. We've been doing that for 100 years. You can get bored of it, ain't you? You know what I mean? By now we'd be absolutely sick and tired of going Lightspeed. It'd be like, so what? We have to do Lightspeed. What you can do 7 times the speed of light. What you can do 7.125917251279999 times the speed of light. You know, it's going to be an anticlimax. Even the one-uppers are just like, I can get to Alpha Centauri in 7 minutes. I can get there in 6 minutes 59. It just doesn't really make any difference 1 minute does it? Like, you know what I mean? Who gives a shit, you'd be saying? The board sent us by now would be having wars again. Mass wars, not just small wars like in Afghanistan. So what we do is we do something called backwards engineering or reverse engineering. And that's where we've had these Lightspeed craft for years. They had them in the Second World War. The Nazis were flying to the moon. So what they did was, instead of inventing the Lightspeed vehicle straight away, they thought to themselves, well, hold on a second, wait a minute, we've got the horse and cart, right? And to go from horse and cart to Lightspeed travel is a little bit too much for the human psyche to take in one go. So we had this schmoozy woozy war, which was all a bit farcy and whatever you like, yeah. And then they decided, you know, the one world government decided that we were going to have internal combustion engine cars first. You know, First World War, we're going back to there then, like, you know what I mean? So First World War, imagine, like, and then you had like steam engine cars just before that, so that was like, you know, 18 something or whatever. Anyway, we started off with the steam engine cars because we thought, yeah, that'd be good when it had steam engine. We got coal, that makes sense. And then we went on to petrol, you know, yeah, from steam to petrol. Then we went diesel as well. The diesel engine was invented, and then we slowly increased the power, yeah, so you could take it. We had to train the human body to go from horse speed, which was like 40 miles an hour maximum, to now we've got Bugatti Veyrons. You know, they do 250, 300 miles an hour. So we had to gradually increase the speed for the human race, otherwise they might melt. It was like, we had to backward engineer it, we had to reverse engineer it, because if we went from riding a horse to light speed, you know, you might disintegrate with the speed difference. We've had to like build up our immunity to going fast. And the time dilation. There was no good having the rich people going at the speed of light and then the poor people still walking because they couldn't afford horses even. Yeah, we had to make it a bit more fair. So if you're going at the speed of light in the speed of light vehicle, and you know you're travelling at 300 miles an hour in a Bugatti Veyron, the speed difference is a little bit less. You know, so we're getting close to light speed cars now, because you know we've got Bugatti Veyrons which do 250 miles an hour, which of course are commonplace everywhere now these days. You see them all over the shop, don't you? But what I'm trying to say with this backward engineering, it is just to acclimatise the human body to speed. The same as with computers. Now, the Google Flop gigahertz processor quad core was designed like back in the 12th century AD, right? But we weren't allowed to have it because back in those days you had priests and monks, and they basically they wrote every single book, and every letter took about a couple of minutes to write because you had to make sure that it was written absolutely perfectly. Yeah? So every single A looked exactly the same, and every single B looked absolutely the same. You know what I'm saying? It had to be perfect. So for a human to do that, it took a while. So the people that were actually doing the printing, they were the printers. Instead of having a printing machine, they were the printers. It was like, instead of having a machine to do something, like a robot, it's like, when the first cars were made, they were all hand built. Now they're built with robots. So you've got to think of a printing machine a bit like a human writer. So it's well, it is basically, if you think about it, like the printing press is basically a substitute for a human writing text onto paper. So we had to go from writing text on paper to being able to download megabytes of data per second. You know, sort of like 20 megabytes per second is an average kind of speed in Europe now, like that you can download, and that's a tremendous amount of data that you can actually drag into your computer at one point. Now, obviously, back in the 12th century, when we invented the Googleplex quad-core processor, it was mind-boggling. So we had to like increase the speed of the human brain from writing 1 letter, 2 letters per minute maximum, to being able to comprehend, 17 pages per second coming out of a laser printer. And it took a while. It took 800, 900 years to acclimatise the human brain to this speed. But if we didn't take that time to backward engineer stuff back to a block press, I think they started with, where you arranged the letters one by one in the block press over a matter of a couple of hours, and then you could print 1 page per stroke, to now these days when you've got laser copiers and computers and all that kind of stuff, if we went straight to the computers, there'd been mass suicides and it would have been bad. So we have to backwards engineer stuff, reverse engineer stuff, just to make sure that the human race doesn't implode upon itself in a mass suicide pact. That's reverse engineering, explained pretty much how it is for you. I tell you.